Ladies and gentlemen, Bekah Komar is about to just absolutely break open your world of what is possible in terms of your comfort zone, in terms of really creating a life by design. We're going to be diving into some really cool stuff, retreats, coaching, her podcast, really, really cool stuff. And before we get there, let's talk about the sponsor, Message. If you are an entrepreneur, an influencer, a high achiever, and you want to break through your BS and achieve your GPS. If you want to dial in your daily routines, get clear on who you are, your purpose, your presence, your platform, really get your message out to the world in a bigger way, the 21-day challenge is a great start to do that. I'll hold you accountable for 21 days. We'll work on a lot of the foundation work, get your daily routines dialed in, all kinds of good stuff, and that is the 21-day challenge. If you're interested and ready to go, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook and message me there. Looking forward to talking to you about your 21-day challenge. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and I do this cool thing where I put it on the screen now, so let's do that. Let's put it on the screen now. All right. Human Flame is the iTunes review of the week this week, and they say it gets you going. That's right, we do. Thanks, Chris, for your energy and positivity that you bring. Love what you are bringing to the table. Well, I do bring a lot to the table, if I do say so myself, and I couldn't do it without these guests, and especially without you out there in the audience. Specifically, I would love to hear what you are valuing about this show. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to hear more of? How can we make it even more valuable for you? Thanks so much for doing that. How you can do that next step and let us know. Go ahead and subscribe and rate and review on iTunes. Just search Become Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes, or go to beyourgps.com/iTunes, and you can do it like that. It'll be a lot of fun, and you'll really make a huge difference for us. So thank you so much for doing that. Next up is going to be the introduction for this powerhouse woman of the hour. She's going to rock it. Bekah Komar is going to come on here in just a minute. Before that, though, bring your pen and your paper. Be ready to take notes, because this woman has transformed herself, overcome some serious challenges, and is here to inspire you, to motivate you, and to really empower you to step into your greatness and step out of your comfort zone, because ain't nobody got time for that. And Bekah is going to help you do it. So pen and paper, be ready to take notes. Make sure you stay all the way through till the end, because you never know what one idea could transform the rest of your life. Let's go ahead and introduce her, and we will bring her on. So Bekah Komar is the host of Follow Your Heart podcast, and she helps professional women turn their passion into their beautiful, radiant, bedazzled purpose. Doesn't have to be that, but I wanted to throw that in. Along with podcasting, she also coaches women and is in the midst of planning specialized women's retreats to further support those that are looking for more in life and to find their true calling. And we're blessed to have her here with us today. Bekah, are you ready to rock the house, superstar?
Yes, I am so ready. That was a beautiful introduction. I like the sprinkles and the rainbows you put on before the purpose part.
You'll have to go back and write that down for the next time someone introduces you.
Yes, I like it.
I love it. Well, you're now live, Bekah. Thank you so much for being here and being who you are. You are a powerhouse, and I'm really grateful to have you on. I was also interviewed by you, I think it was a month or two ago. It was such an amazing experience. You're a great host, and I know it's going to be a blast with you. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me on. I'm super excited to talk to you today. Be on the other side of the seat.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. You're going to bedazzle our audience. So let's dive right into the theme of the day, which is remembering how to have fun. Bekah, how does this concept, this question of remembering how to have fun show up for you in your life?
This one is just, of course, perfect timing, because this has been something that I've been setting an intention for. And I just put a post out that I was saying that I wanted to bring funner back, because I don't know if you remember, people used to say funner it was a real word.
Improper, yeah.
Yes, but I love that terminology, and I feel like it died down, and we need to bring that back.
I love it. Funner. Let's go.
Funner.
So tell me what happens in your soul when you hear the word funner.
I don't know why, but it brings me back to being an adolescent and carefree. It gets me excited. I think maybe because funner is a made up word, it kind of reminds you of creativity, imagination.
Yeah.
It just gets me excited. I'm like, I want to go play. I want to go run through the mustard flowers in a field and just be completely carefree.
I love it. I love it. So it just brings you back to that 6-year-old, 8-year-old girl who just does whatever she wants when she wants and is playing and dancing and creating, designing, dreaming, all those beautiful things and just having a great time doing it.
Absolutely. I'm sure the same for you, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, the fun is like, yeah, that it's being free. That freedom is for me is freedom and self expression. Those two go hand in hand for me with fun. Like when I feel like I'm able to share my voice and be all of the multifaceted, multidimensional version of Chris Burns, my greatest possible self. Like that's fun. That's freedom. That's so much awesomeness for me.
I love it. And there's just it's constantly I've been chatting with my friend back and forth. She's in Costa Rica right now and I'm
Yeah.
traveling. So I'm in Hawaii right now. And we've been really setting the intention of trying to, we're not trying to, we're actually setting the intention to have more fun
Yeah.
and to be able to really be present in the moment and not focus on all the things we need to do.
Mm,
And so our attention both has been traveling and we've been messaging each other back and forth. And it keeps coming up where we have to remind ourselves like, this is supposed to be fun. And it's crazy because that's when our like higher selves is easily accessible to us. And we have
mm,
so much more creativity and ideas and thoughts and
yeah.
more experiences.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how more fun leads to more productivity, even though it may sound like a contradictory statement.
Well, it's like it seems like a contradictory statement because of what we've been told, right? Like our societal programming is no fun, just go to work. When you're out of work, then you can have fun. And that's like binge fun. It's like
Yeah.
binge numbing, binge, just like totally not healthy. And there's ways to have fun in everything that we do all the time, whether we're working or we're quote unquote in our leisure activities. So I know that's something you also help professional women to really expand into their greatness, their power, their potential. I'm sure this is an important aspect of it: self-care, self-love, fun. So tell us a little bit more about you, Bekah, and what you stand for. We'll go back into the journey in a bit, and let's just start with who you are and what you stand for.
Absolutely. As you said, I've been going through transformation. So, who I am, I'm learning more and more about every single day, which is the fun of it.
Yeah.
At my core, my values are health, wellness, spirituality, success, growth, development, and connection relationships.
Yeah.
And so, at that core, how I am able to satisfy and really live into those values is a couple areas through being able to have a podcast. So I have my podcast I launched a couple months ago, Follow Your Heart podcast, where I get to do something very similar to this and interview just amazing people from all walks of life and have fun, talk about life, talk about experiences, challenges, setbacks, growth opportunities, and lessons so we can all learn from each other. So that's one thing that obviously is one of my big passions is that connection piece. And also, of course, coaching women in the corporate world. And so I really focus on supporting females in the ages of 20s, early to late 20s. Really help them find their passion and their purpose. And there's I think 20s is a lot of self-discovery, figuring out what do I want to do? What is the meaning of life? Why am I even here? And so it's a common time to start to explore, and it can get very lonely and confusing. So I support women in that avenue of giving them tools to be able to go through the exploration and not feel alone. So that's another area. And of course, as you mentioned, retreats. And so I'll have a retreat coming in 2020, which I'm planning. Yes, and that could bring everyone together so you can have that in-person connection, because online's great, but there is no better feeling than connecting physically and emotionally with other like-minded people.
Yeah, the in-person is like just next level. I think a lot of times people have become accustomed to just doing the online thing, and it's just like there's a hole, there's an emptiness that's created with that, and I know I think you're going to attempt to get to Petya's live event, and she's doing a live event because she knew that women wanted to be in the same space. So like you're hitting it on the head of the nail with the retreat, because I think men too, and specifically women, are looking for that sisterhood. They're looking for like the other women who get them, who they feel accepted, who they feel loved with, because it can be difficult to come by in the world for people who don't know where to look or how to find it.
Absolutely. And I've gone through it myself. I'm sure you've gone
Yep.
to those events where it's life changing. A weekend can completely transform your life. And it did actually. That's when I really stepped into launching my podcast and starting these other things as well.
Mm, that's amazing. I love it. I love it. So let's dive back in and hear more about your journey. How did you get to where we are today, doing these retreats, empowering women? Like, tell us more about where it all began for you.
Yeah. Where do I begin? I think there was a point that really stands out to me, and that was being in a corporate job that I wasn't happy with.
Mm,
And I guess even taking a step back is college. Having a lot of challenges that I hadn't dealt with. I was staying within my comfort zone, doing what I knew to do or thought was the right thing, which was partying and hanging out with friends and doing that over and over again and not really focusing on what I wanted. I was doing what I thought other people wanted of me.
mm,
And that even bled into what I did as a career. I chose what I thought my dad wanted me to do and my parents wanted me to do and what society thought you told you to do is
yeah.
graduate college, go get a good job. Okay, I can do that. Great. I got a great job on a resume. I was working for one of the big four accounting firms. I don't know if you're familiar with KPMG.
Uh-huh.
And on paper, it sounded great. They sent me to Hawaii. I got to do this great project, but I was so far from where I felt aligned. Like
Mm,
just every single day, it was like, when is Friday coming? It needs to come sooner. And so that started to really take a toll on me, and just kept pushing those thoughts aside. And when I moved back, it was really a great opportunity when I moved back to the mainland to really figure out my life. And so
mm,
that led me to Portland, Oregon, where I live now. And that's when my transformation really took place. I hired a coach
mm,
because I was really stressed at a very stressful software sales job, really high demand, high pressure, 60, 70 hours a week of working, never feeling like you're enough, constantly getting rejected. So it forced me to go deeper.
mm.
And so I hired a coach and started to work on myself. And in 2, 3 years later, here I am today, still working on myself, but feeling the happiest I've ever been.
Mm. What would you say has changed in terms of feeling the happiest you've ever been? What has changed about your mindset, your behaviors,
Mm.
thoughts?
Loving myself 100%,
Mm,
feeling worthy, and also the new habits and routines I've established daily. I'd say those are probably the main components, which is so simple, but you can make 1,000 excuses as to why not to do it.
That's right. And I think it's just like when you're learning to walk, it's like walking is biologically hardwired into us to be able to do it. And the child keeps going until they're walking.
Yeah.
These habits of self-love, like, are they it brings a question to my mind. Are they hardwired into us? I think so. And I think that they're also like programmed out of us, so to speak. And that programming can be super difficult to overcome because, when we're walking, we're young, we're like a sponge, we're easily adaptable. And then people start getting into personal development when they're, 20, 25, 30, whatever it might be. And it's like the ability to take on the conversation gets more difficult, it seems like, the older people get, because they have so much of a track record of experience and the way life is, right? And so to be
Mm-hmm.
open and flexible and adaptable, that's super, super important. So kudos to you for being that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so true. I was thinking about that today in terms of, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It, things before when we were younger, as a child, we're programmed to, yeah, we innately have a sense of fear. Like if there is a tiger chasing after you, you're going to run.
Right.
But talking to people, like
Mm.
how did that become scary? These
Mm.
people told you not to talk to strangers, and
Yeah.
your parents said, be careful, don't cross the street. And so you stayed in your little bubble.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as like, our default setting is to love and to express love and love ourselves and
Mm.
to experience life. But over time, that kind of gets skewed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to dive into what our audience, especially the women out there and men too, and specifically women, what can they do to really start shifting themselves like you did. You mentioned it's pretty simple. Let's cover what those steps are that they can be doing, and then what also might be coming up that's stopping them or getting in their way from doing that.
Yes. There's a couple things. I think usually there's an underlying fear that maybe you may not even have addressed yet. So whatever it may be that you want to step into, that something is holding you back. For me, it was at one point quitting my job and stepping into this realm of being able to do podcasting and blogging and things like that. That scared me. And so I made a lot of excuses. I'll use myself as an example, and hopefully everyone listening can kind of relate to what theirs would be specifically. I had the thoughts of, well, I can't do that. I made excuses for myself that, I'm going to make less money, and that I've already put in so much time, and people are going to never talk to me again at my workplace. All my colleagues are going to hate me because I leave and I'll lose friends. I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. All of these, excuses, and really come from scarcity of, I can't get more after this, or I can't get, friends that are more in line with me, and I can't get a job with more money and more freedom. And so what I did was really did a lot of reflection on why I was feeling these things and asking myself, why do I not feel like I can step into what I truly feel passionate about? And by asking yourself why and over again, the best time to do that is during meditation, because that's when you're most clear minded. You're really listening to your heart versus your head and your mind. I did a lot of meditating and journaling and meditating, journaling over and over again.
Was that easy for you to pick up?
What?
The meditating and journaling?
No, that took time. Also, it's something that you kind of start to become a habit. Over time, yes, it became a habit. In the beginning, it was something I'd pick up and do for a couple days, and then make an excuse about not having enough time, and then pick it up again until I truly felt the change. And I hope that people don't have to wait as long as me to be able to make that a habit, because it's such a powerful tool in allowing you and supporting you and being able to step into what you really want to do. And the best thing to do if you're starting out just meditating is to be able to do some type of guided, because a lot of people I've talked to that haven't meditated before, the first objection is, I can't sit still that long. They're like, okay, well, that's why you need to do it more.
Yep. Or I don't know how. It's like,
yeah. And then there's so many great apps out there. That's what I started with, Headspace. I know there's Calm. There's tons of YouTube apps or videos out there you can listen to get you familiarized. It's kind of like working out. Sometimes it's hard to just go to the gym and like you pick up a weight and you're like, it's been 10 minutes. I should go home now. You don't know what to do. So meditating can probably feel the same way to begin with, which is why you have resources and tools, and everything online is free now. You can find something that really, sinks to you. And calls to you.
And so just get started. I think the big thing is like, just commit to it. If you've been hearing about it again and again and again, like to meditate, to journal, like just commit to it. And if it's imperfect, good. You'll figure out a better way to do it as time goes on. But just like get your butt in the seat, put yourself in front of the, pad and paper or pad and pen, or, if you're meditating, get yourself in a quiet place, set a timer, get the app, whatever it is, and just give it a shot and don't give up.
Yeah. Once again, it's that fear that creeps up. Like, what's so hard about meditating? We might get the answers we actually want, and we're afraid of those. So ask yourself once again, why? What's holding you back from that? And it could be something as simple as starting meditation as a routine that's outside your comfort zone.
Yeah. So, like, how do we know what our comfort zone is?
I'm very much a intuitive feeling person, so this may not be the logical answer, but you feel. So there is a common misconception of any type of like butterflies means that it's not safe. But usually that means it's like exciting. Something is drawing you to it, and so I guess your comfort zone is really where you feel the most safe and at ease and out of danger. And yeah, usually you can sense that in your body. Your body will give you signs. You might tense up when you feel like you're a little scared. Your shoulders might go up to your ears. You might be like tense up here. So you can really scan your body and sense if this is outside your comfort zone. And most of the time, it's not going to kill you. It's just fear. And that's okay to step into that.
Yeah. Is there like a distinction between when it would be something that our gut or our intuition is telling us not to do, and like something that we're just nervous to do, or it's a little uncomfortable?
It's a good question. And I think the messages you receive might be different from person to person. You can ask yourself, is this going to kill me? No? Okay, great. Move on. If it's a life or death situation, okay, maybe you're not going to jump into like a swarm of sharks and go diving. That might be a little dangerous unless you are in a protected tour environment. But most of the time, yeah, we can tell the difference. That's a part of our like natural setting once again.
Yeah, I love it. So comfort zone is something that when we feel it's easy, it's normal, it's routine, there's not really any effort to do it. And then outside of the comfort zone there's butterflies, feels a little bit uncomfortable, might feel nervous, might start to tense up, tighten up a little bit. And like, what is the importance of knowing which one we're in, or being aware of like what we're going through? Because I know that's super important. If someone doesn't believe that they're trying to get out of their comfort zone, they just think, oh, I'm just not afraid. I don't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. They tell themselves a story that keeps them in their comfort zone. Tell us a little bit more about how to distinguish that and make a powerful, empowered choice.
What comes to my mind first is doing reflection and asking yourself where you are now and where you want to be. And if the things where you want to be, there's something holding you back, that thing is outside your comfort zone, and that's what you need to address.
Beautiful. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Cool. So where are you now? Where do you want to be? That's really the gap between like, where's your comfort zone, which most likely is where you're at now, and where do you want to be? So once we get clear on the start and the end point, how do we traverse to that end point and get out of the comfort zone in a healthy, empowered way?
That's when the action goes into play. Is you can journal and meditate and write about it all day, which I love that part.
Right?
Not so much as, oh my gosh, now I have to do it. Great. So taking action and making a plan. So let's just use social settings like networking as something where people like to stay with the same group of friends, and they want to expand their friend group, and they now know they want to go to a networking event, but it scares them because they don't like talking to strangers. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that one, because networking can be uncomfortable. You have to meet strangers and have a small talk, and potentially face a fear of rejection or feeling not enough, so on and so forth. So taking action part, well, first would be number one, creating a plan for yourself. And you could go to one networking event and suddenly you overcome that fear and you're outside your comfort zone, but most likely you're going to have to do some type of repetition. So what are you going to commit to? I always go back to my health and fitness roots of working out. If you work out once, great, you might feel good for the day, you might have more energy, but are you going to hit your goal of, losing 10 pounds or building muscle, or I don't know, curing your whatever you have going on? So creating a schedule. Okay, I'm going to commit to once a week attending one type of event, or once a month. I'm going to go online right now, figure out what networking events are in my area. Okay, there is Network After Work. I have this Facebook group that's in my city. I'm going to sign up for those things now, put it on my schedule, and commit to it. So I think it's really important to commit to it, hold yourself accountable, schedule it out, because I don't know how many times I've done this in the past where I'll say I'm going to do it. It's not on my calendar. Oops, forgot. Next time I'll go. And then you never go. So really committing to taking action to kind of create that environment so that way you can be able to grow and build that confidence that way no longer it's a fear holding you back. So yeah, really taking action and getting an accountability, I think, is very important.
Definitely.
For me, that form, it comes in a coach. And I've not always, I've had a coach off and on for the last 2-3 years, whether that's a manager or a life coach, a business coach, someone that I can confide in that's not going to give me, the nice answer, but the answer I want to hear and support me in my goals and check in with me.
Yeah, it's
I think that's always
the answer
important.
you want to hear; it's the answer you need to hear.
Yeah, not like, oh, it's okay, do it next week if you didn't go. It's like, no, why didn't you go? You said you were going to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's critical, is having that accountability buddy, whatever form that takes on, to tell someone, because as soon as you vocalize and it's not just in your head, you've created more of a commitment to yourself and to others. And so I think that's also an important component. So, doing your research, creating a plan, researching what exactly you're going to attend ahead of time, putting it in your schedule, having an accountability coach, and just doing it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's where people have a lot of challenges. They overcomplicate the just doing it, and they stay stuck in that analysis paralysis.
Very familiar with that one. Yeah.
That's I think it's like you don't even know that you're doing it. Oftentimes, people aren't even aware. Like, I know for me, I would make the excuse that, like, oh, I'm thinking about it, I'm planning, I'm getting ready, I'm lining the ducks up, but really it was just avoiding taking the action. And it's such a fine. It's such a blurry line between, like, hey, am I really procrastinating, or am I like actually preparing? And I think when we self-analyze and like look at our day or look at our week, and we said, what do we want to get accomplished this week? Obviously, it helps to have a target, set a target, and then what did we accomplish compared to what we wanted to? And if it's like we didn't get what we wanted done, it's like, okay, there's probably some distractions or procrastination, self-sabotage, something getting in the way of our maximum performance and achievement.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you can spend so much time planning because that's the easy part.
It's fun.
Yeah, you can think about it all you want, but then doing it, oh gosh, like now it's getting serious. That actually reminds me when at my last sales position, because I'm still in software sales, and my last role was the best challenges for me. I grew the most because I was constantly, every single day, pushed outside my comfort zone. And one of the biggest challenges for most salespeople is cold calling. And it's very scary for a lot of people, including myself. I was new to it. And there was a lot of training that went around the concept of analysis by paralysis. And it's real. And and so many people did it where, we'd be required to have about 8 hours, about 8 hours of block time to call, dial, and you're constantly getting rejected. Nope. Okay, bye. Dial another one. Okay, bye. But most new people will like spend half the time on the computer researching the person, researching the company. What am I going to talk about? Let me check their LinkedIn. Oh, okay. It's been 5 minutes. Maybe I'll make a call. It's almost lunchtime of their time, so maybe I should wait until after. Again, all of these excuses. And that's what we do in our head, especially when it's scary, because there's an opportunity of getting rejected or there's some type of fear. So we're just going to do what's comfortable, which is the research or whatever that preparation may be for the before the action.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love that. That's such a great example, because really we rationalize. We're so good at rationalizing. We're so good at like defending why it's the right thing that we're doing. And it totally makes sense, doesn't it? Like our ego mind is so good at like, convincing us that this is the right way. Got to stay safe, got to prepare. Of course it is, and it's just crazy what we can come up with to make sure that we stay in our comfort zone rather than breaking through. And I'm curious, like, you've had coaches to really help you with your accountability and help you break through. What do you feel that the retreats aspect of your business? What do you think that that's going to really help people with in terms of their comfort zone?
That's a good question. Um, I think it's going to, of course, vary from person to person, and vulnerability is the biggest for me, is having that safe space and challenging people to do things that are outside their comfort zone. And my goal is to essentially dig into those deep rooted issues that we've packed away that are uncomfortable to bring up. And for each person, it's going to be something different. Maybe it was a past trauma, it was sexual abuse, it was rejection, a breakup, a family divorce, whatever that may be, that's uncomfortable for them to talk about. And to have a safe space of loving, compassionate people surrounded to be able to bring up those uncomfortable conversations and release it. So, journaling exercises, one-on-one discussions with other people to bring about all the things that were once uncomfortable become comfortable and release it.
I love this because I think there's a distinction between talking about something to process it and release it, because there's definitely super empowering processes where you just share it, and just by someone else witnessing what you're sharing, it allows you to be free of it. I think that's typically around traumas, right? Like you're sharing these past wounds and things that you didn't really feel safe sharing before. How does that relate to sharing and talking about like blocks and like not being able to get out of someone's comfort zone? Like, what's the distinction that you look for to know if it's just like they're saying it because they want to stay stuck in their comfort zone, or it's like a past trauma kind of thing? You know what I'm asking?
I think so.
Okay.
So are you asking if there is something deeper, that maybe like there's a surface level comfort zone issue, but there's also something a little bit deeper?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the power of coaching, right?
Yeah.
Is asking those difficult questions and vocalizing it. I don't know how many times I've coached people and had those exact conversations where time and time again, it's always something different than what they say it is. And being able to really talk to someone and confide in it is, I think, really important too. One, people have to open up and be vulnerable in order for that to even happen.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know if that really answers your question.
No, it's I think it's getting towards it. And how do you distinguish if it's someone just procrastinating or if there's like really something deeper?
For me, this is just, once again, intuition. I can sense it. I can feel it. Even body language, their contact, tonality, all of those things play into how we're holding on to that. And emotion.
Yeah. So it's
if
like
we start to get teary-eyed, it might be something different. If it's just like, oh yeah, I'm scared of this, and they just seem so nonchalant, then it's probably procrastination versus something deeper.
I love it. That's powerful, because I think it's important for people to know if it's like something real or deeper, or deeper rooted thing. And I think every kind of procrastination or hesitation, like at some level there's a deeper root to it. Like people don't just like self-sabotage themselves or procrastinate for no reason, but people might be better at hiding like that, I'm just procrastinating kind of thing. And it's totally the surface level thing. I'm just not doing what I want to do, versus I'm procrastinating and I'm really afraid, and here's what like the story is behind it. And I think it also will emerge based on how safe someone feels to talk about that deeply rooted thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between the two, but
Super cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's talk about your podcast. What have you learned and grown through with your podcast? How have you evolved? How have you grown yourself? What do you see as different about you now since before you started the show?
Mhm. So many amazing things have come up since starting a podcast, and I'm sure you can relate to all of these and more. When I wanted to start a podcast, I had actually set a goal for myself in January 2018 that I was going to launch a podcast by December 2018.
Mm.
And at that time, I was still working at my last job. I knew I wasn't happy and I needed some type of shift. And it took me until May to leave that job. And then I launched my podcast in around November of 2018, right before the buzzer.
Wow.
And
Good job.
as soon as I stepped into that, it's like all of my desires and all of my visions for myself had manifested as soon as I stepped into that. It was like complete alignment. And through the podcasting, obviously, interviewing a lot of people like you, where you get to learn so much from people, and really share a deeper connection with like-minded individuals, and some maybe not so like-minded, and that's important too, is to learn different viewpoints and perspectives. And I think it really has accelerated my even development myself as a person, also how I can help others, my clients and my family and friends, because it's like it feels almost like being in college, like you're taking classes on life constantly by listening to others. That, and just I've built an amazing community. Like almost every single person I had on the show, like they're my great friends.
That's awesome.
You, Petya, everyone. Like I know I can generally reach out, and you would be there for me. And that's another great benefit of the podcast. But overall, learning, growing, it's kind of a theme.
Yeah. And what was your initial drive or desire to start the podcast?
Maybe this has to go into something deeper, but surface level answer would be my first ever podcast I listened to. Do you know School of Greatness, Lewis Howes?
Hell yeah.
Yes, I like binged on that for like 6 months when I first discovered podcasts. And Christine Hassler over and On with It. And so I only listened to them for like 6 months straight, like every single episode. And I just, when I listened to them, I was like, I want to do this. This sounds so awesome. At my last job, I was driving around for like 4 hours a day in my car in sales. And so I just always had podcasts on. And that's all I would consume. And the more I listened to it, the more I wanted to do it. It was just like, it just called to me. I'm like, yeah, that sounds so much fun. I already interview people in sales. I talk to people and ask them a billion questions. So why not do that with a topic I like?
Yeah. What would you say is the difference between like a sales conversation and an interview for you?
That's a good question. The more I do podcasts, the more I'm merging and blending them too. Realizing I'm still talking to humans, so we're all the same. I think in business for sales specifically, there's your main intention is to close them and get a deal, be more influential, versus a podcast. Typically, it's more of a conversation and that connection and learning. But at the end of the day, I think great podcasters, especially if you listen to the show, it's being inquisitive like you're fantastic at leading conversations and asking great questions. And that's really all it is at the end of the day.
It's beautiful. What skill did you most value that you picked up in your sales career?
That's a tough one. Confidence. Especially women. A lot of women say, and will admit it, I don't have confidence, or I want to have more confidence. And especially if you're working with executives, C-level suites of mid, medium, large size businesses, they see right through you and walk all over you. So confidence probably is number one. And I think mental toughness as well is, being able to strengthen your mindset is also something I learned.
That's awesome. Confidence and mental toughness. Yeah, those are
Mhm.
huge. It's like to know and own your worth, like and that you can do it. Anything you set your mind to, you can do it, as well as the ability to handle and face rejection, the mental toughness and keep going. Rejection or persistence, perseverance. It might not be rejection, it might just be,
Yeah.
people's games that they're playing, because executives and gatekeepers, there's some games they play.
Yeah, and playing, and you're like, ugh.
It's
Yeah,
so
but
funny.
yeah, persistence also very important. I think
Yeah.
that's a common misconception that people think like they're being annoying, if they're being persistent.
Mm,
But if you want something, once again, you have to take action on it,
yeah.
and that goes for pretty much any area of life. You have to remember your value and your worth, what you're delivering to that person.
Mm, mm. It's powerful. Very cool. I love it. I love it. So the retreat is coming in 2020. What do you see
Hmm.
is one of your biggest areas of growth to make the retreat a huge success between now and the time you put it on?
Mm. So this is a big opportunity right here. Um, Areas of opportunity. I think that it's just for me the unrelentless focus
Mhm.
on making that the priority. As we've talked, there are probably people listening probably wondering, like, wait, she does sales, she does a podcast, she does coaching, and now she's doing retreats. What does this girl do? And that's just how I love life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say making that a priority and a real focus is an opportunity of growth for me is, really focusing, tunnel visioning on that.
Mm,
I already know I can do it. I'm
yeah.
actually partnering with my sister. So
That's awesome.
it's great to have a business partner as well to support you in that. And obviously I have an amazing coach that's done it before that's giving me the roadmap.
Yeah.
So I have no concerns about, not being able to do it. I think it's just really that relentless focus
Mm,
and attention to it.
mm. I love it. Focus is so important. How do you think focus relates to someone's comfort zone? What would you say is the relationship between those two?
Mm, I, yeah, that's a good point. Um, it kind of goes back to what your goals, intentions are. So if you
Mm,
don't have a clearly defined goal, you probably won't know what's outside of your comfort zone that you need to get over to achieve it.
mm,
Um, so I think it's going back, getting clearly understanding your vision, your mission in life, and what your goals are, and then that will then align you to see what blocks potentially or roadblocks will be in the way, that what comfort zone you're in that you need
yeah.
to get past in order to get that goal. There's Have you seen that picture where it has like this, like a circle, a little circle, and it says like your comfort zone, and then it says right here, this is where the magic happens.
Yep.
I always think about that.
Yeah.
So that bigger circle where magic happens is your goal,
Yeah.
and this is where you are. So how are you going to get from A to B?
Yep.
That's kind of what comes to mind for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen this is where the magic happens, and also like
Mhm.
everything that you want in life is in that outside
Right
circle.
here. Yeah. Yeah. So if you focus on the target,
Yeah.
you'll most likely hit it. But if you're like shooting in the dark
Mm.
because you don't know what your focus is, then you're not going to get over those fears.
Yeah, yeah. So I love this, and I think that there's the focus is like, hey, what's the goal? You got to know what the target is, like you said, and the
Hmm.
comfort zone is the willingness to step out of willingness to like do what it takes, right? Like to expand your comfort zone to be able to achieve the goal is to become the person who does what it takes to achieve that. So like, what is the best way that you found to like really confront your the edges of your comfort zone to break through those? And I know we talked about like the inner work, journaling, meditation were some of the tools. Accountability is super helpful. Is there anything else that we didn't cover to really like expand and like say, F you comfort zone, I'm breaking through, you know, like how do we do that?
Yeah. I think it goes back to like the action part of creating a plan.
Yeah.
So I sell strategic planning software, so I might have like an upper hand here where I work with companies to build out their plan.
Wow.
And so I took that model and made it into my own personal plan.
Mm.
And so I built out all of my focuses as an individual, what I want to accomplish. Okay, podcast, retreats, personal development, relationships, health. And those are my buckets. And then from there, I created my goals. And then from there, I created my action steps. So within my overall focuses, I asked myself, okay, what do I want to accomplish this year and how am I going to get it done? And from that, I started to pick up on what are the things that scared me that I want to be able to create actions, tasks for myself to be able to then complete that goal. So it allowed me to see what was inside my comfort zone and what wasn't for those goals. That way I can still make it a goal, but I had an action as to how I was going to accomplish it. I don't know if that helped answer your question.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and
that's what helps me.
I think the big thing is to make it like black and white what the step is. Like, what's the action that I have to take to know if I'm confronting this comfort zone and breaking through and achieving the milestones that I know I'm supposed to achieve, right? Because I think when someone sets a goal of, let's say, earning $1 million a year or launching a podcast or whatever it might be, right? Like when they set that goal, they break it down into bite-sized steps, and it's like the daily actions of, am I confronting the resistance and the blocks and the excuses and all that stuff to achieve my goal? Am I on track or off track? Am I hitting my daily targets that lead to the weekly, to the monthly, to the quarterly, to the yearly?
Absolutely. Yeah. Really tracking all of that. And like you said, breaking it all down into smaller steps. There's this great book that I'm reading right now. I don't know if you've heard of it. I hope I can't. This is swearing.
Yeah,
How to Get Shit Done.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a really great book, and she really breaks that down of being able to choose like 3 core things that you're going to work on, and then break that down into tracking weekly how you're performing and how you're going to accomplish those individual action steps, as small as creating a website. Okay, these are like the 10 things I need to complete in order to do that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how like, have you ever had something that felt overwhelming to you, like a big grandiose task?
Totally.
In your head, you feel like you're gonna explode, and you're like, oh my god, how am I gonna get this done?
Yep.
There's so many things and I don't even know where to start. And you talk to someone and they're like, oh, it's easy, do XYZ, and suddenly you feel relieved. Oh, okay, that's not that scary. And so it's the same thing with like from your comfort zone. Like if people are afraid to go to a networking event and someone asks like, why are you afraid? You're just talking to people, and suddenly like, oh, okay, you're right. I'm just talking to people. Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what is it? I think Tim Ferriss talks about fear setting instead of goal setting. It's to talk about what's the worst case scenario that could happen, and just like play that out in your head. Okay, so if that happens, am I going to die? No. Okay, then let's go. So I think that's important to do, is figure out the best case, the realistic, and the worst case scenario. That's super powerful. And can you mention the book and the author one more time?
Oh my gosh. I don't have the author. I feel really bad for whoever wrote that.
What's the book? What's the book title one more time?
How to Get Shit Done.
Oh, I know that sounds familiar.
I hope it's right. Let me Google it right now. Yeah, How to Get Shit Done. This is what happens when you try to make a goal of, or actually make a goal of 50 books and start to like fly through them way too quickly.
They blur together.
I know. I'm like, I know I heard that somewhere. Aaron Falconer is the name of the author.
Yeah. I don't think I would have remembered that either. No offense, Aaron. We love you.
Great book.
Oh my gosh. So that's awesome. So you mentioned you're like going hardcore with your book and education consumption. Are your goal is to do 50 this year? Is that the goal? Or 50 this month?
Ooh. Is that a challenge?
Game
Would you
on!
ever read 50 books in a month? I feel like you would probably do that.
I
Maybe.
don't think I would have a life or a business anymore.
No. Yeah, no. Almost 2 books a day. Couldn't do that. No, 50 books a year. Yeah. And that's a combination of Audible and
Audio and yeah,
paperback.
yeah.
So it's not like, for those of you that have, your opinion about if an Audible book is a book, I'm counting it.
I counted too. Shoot, like come on. Who's like
Yeah.
I mean you could like literally read a book a week and that's a challenge. It can be a challenge. Like high performers, I think
Yeah.
some people dedicate like 30 minutes or an hour a day to reading. I think that's awesome. I also think that there's, execution time for the knowledge that you learn, because if you're just like consuming lots of books, because my goal is also to do 50 books this year. I think I'm on like
Oh,
11. I think I've done 11 so far, and it's March 6th, so I'm kicking butt.
you're
So
doing
yeah,
really good.
so I think there's an important part to implement, because already I feel like I'm going at such a fast speed that I can't even like do all the exercises that I want to in the book, because it's like, well, I said 50 books, so I'm doing 50 books. So it's just like
I
really,
love that you put this up. Yeah, like taking the time to read it, but also take some type of action. So it's
yes,
not like you just listen to other podcasts and was like, oh,
yeah.
that's cool, and moved on with your life. It's so funny. I was just talking to my boyfriend about this, and he challenged me. He was like, how much are you actually consuming and how much you're actually executing? Because we were
Ah,
reading Think and Grow Rich together, and like the first 3 pages of this book, it's like telling you read it slow, and I'm like, but this is gonna mess up my goal. I need to move faster. But I think what you said is, it's so important, because we
yeah.
can consume so much information and not take action. Once
Mm,
again, theme of the story, yes, you can plan and, you know, do all of the consumption, but
mhm.
the action is just as important, if not more important.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that, because it talks about I think you have to like read one of the chapters, or a portion of it says to read it every day for 30 days, or until a certain amount of time has passed, and Think and Grow Rich. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm supposed to do this, and then I also have this other discipline and habit. I also have this other one. It's like so many different sources of education and training and exercises, meditation, varieties of meditation, visualization, journaling, all of it, right? Like, oh my gosh, how do we know which ones are the ones to do and the ones to keep? So I'm curious, what have you found works for you in terms of staying true to not being overcomplicated, keeping things simple, and doing and executing things? What's your strategies? What's working for you?
Mm. This also goes into strategic planning as well.
Mhm.
And for any type of goal setting planning, usually the rule of three applies.
Hmm.
So don't take on like more than 3 goals at a time. At least it can be within a certain timeline. So within a month or quarter.
Mhm.
So you can focus your efforts, because when you start building on too many, it's very challenging to create a habit out of it. If
Mm.
anything, I think one at a time is ideal for things like, if one person is just working on it. So you have an individual goal, um, of going to the gym 5 days a week, and
Right.
you want to create a habit out of that, then focus on that.
Mhm.
And when you're ready to build into the diet part, then
Mm.
add that on after 30 days when it becomes a habit, or however long it feels like it's becoming a habit.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's easy. I've been that type of person. That's why I'm speaking from experience, where I try to take on everything.
Yeah.
And then so many things drop. And then at the end of the day, you don't feel confident in yourself that you've accomplished anything, because it's
Mm.
like, well, I bit off too much, more than I could chew at the end of the day.
I
Good
love it.
question though, because so many people ask that, especially in coaching. Like, I don't know what to focus on. What should I
Yeah.
start with? If you are just starting out and you want to start meditating, or you want to dive deeper into self help and development and personal development,
Mhm.
my biggest recommendation is to start meditating, even just 5 minutes a day, and start journaling for 5 minutes a day, and start
Mm.
there,
Yeah.
and then build upon that.
Yeah. 100%. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Becca, if we could wrap this conversation up with the biggest takeaway, the biggest piece of action that someone could take, the thing to execute on, the thing to do, be, or have because of this interview, what would that be?
Mm. you're afraid to do something, ask yourself why.
Mm.
That would be number one. Why? Why am I afraid of this?
Mm.
And don't be afraid to reach out for help. Talk to people about it, because I think we're all great at internalizing things and making it bigger than what it really is. So yeah, whether that's a friend, family, or coach, talking about those things, because obviously we're all here to support each other at the end of the day. We don't have to do this alone.
Yeah. So awesome. So cool. Bekah, our audience is loving this. They want to know how they can stay connected with you. What are their next steps that they can take? How do they continue their journey?
Absolutely. I hang out the most on Instagram, so you can find me at Bekah Komar. It's spelled a little different. It's BekahKomar. This is really funny, but people used to call me Bekah, like a bird, so ka instead of CA. I don't know why I just embarrass myself and do that, but it's a good way to remember it. So Instagram, and then also I have a Facebook group as well. And best way to find me, of course, on Facebook, same name, BekahKomar. And you'll find my group, Passion to Purpose, there. And you can be joined into a group of like-minded women who really support each other in this journey. So that way you can get from, where you currently are to where you really are, where you want to be with your purpose in life.
I love it. I love it. And remind us the name of your podcast and how to find it again.
Podcast, Follow Your Heart podcast on iTunes and Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can go to, all the good stuff. Instagram, Linktree. For all of you that don't know, just click on that link under the picture and all of the little description at the top bio, and you'll have all the links you need there.
Love it. Awesome. Bekah, you are a superstar, a high achiever. You're changing these women's lives. You're such an inspiration, creating a powerhouse community, doing amazing retreats, and all the good stuff. So keep up the great work. Keep focused. Keep breaking through your comfort zone and role modeling how others can do it too. You're on fire. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for always being all of us and getting us excited and making us have fun.
Yes. So much fun. Awesome, Bekah. I appreciate you. Have the best day ever, and we'll see you soon, okay?
You too. Thanks.
Awesome.